sister. And today I really mean sister, because today we're going to talk about something that really I've only ever talked openly about with my own sister. And I want to change that today because there's something that almost all women use month after month for 40 plus years that can drastically impact your hormones and endocrine system, which means more or less symptoms of hormone imbalance and perimenopause. And it's been fairly taboo. So today we're actually going to talk about period products. Do you know what period products your friends use? I don't. And yet this is something that would be helpful for us to talk about. So we're going to get into it today. Now, it wasn't that long ago that I was at a conference and met this incredible woman who I immediately clicked with. She is like many of us, driven, successful, smart. And when I learned what she had created in this world, I just had to have her on the podcast and share her expertise in this area. So buckle up and let me introduce you to Jennifer Eden, who is the visionary founder and CEO of Tampon Tribe, a company at the forefront of sustainable and organic personal care and period products. At Tampon Tribe, Jennifer's commitment to sustainable business practices has led to remarkable success. The company, which is known for its zero plastic, completely organic and toxin-free products, has achieved an average annual growth rate of 483%, underscoring Jennifer's adeptness in blending ethical responsibility with entrepreneurial success. And she is here to share with us today why zero plastic, completely organic products are critical to your hormonal health. So, welcome, Jennifer, to the Period Whisperer podcast. I am beyond excited for this conversation. This is right in my wheelhouse of what I believe all women really need to know if they don't already. I'm so happy you're here.
Thanks, Bria. It's such a pleasure to be here and for that wonderful introduction. I appreciate it very much.
Well, it's all you. You did it all. I just got to share it. So I'm so excited that you're here. Why don't you tell us first a bit about you, how you even came to care about creating clean, toxin-free period products and plastic-free products and really make it a big part of how you serve?
Sure. The journey for me to Tampon Tribe was actually a really personal one. So I'm sure, like so many women on the planet, people can relate to having really bad period pain. Mine was so bad that I would be doubled over in pain, couldn't get out of bed, had to crawl to the kitchen and eat a banana and then have these super strong tablets that just, created chaos in your body, but it was the only way to get through the day. And about 7 years ago now, I just got to a point where I thought there has to be a better way to live. This is not acceptable anymore. However, it did take that long. And I'd never even spoken to anyone about it, not even my parents or my friends. So I started researching along with my business partner, Gabby, and we found that a lot of the toxins in period products could actually be exacerbating the symptoms. At first, I thought absolutely no way, but it led me on this little path of discovery. The first was, heading into a natural grocery store here in Los Angeles, where I was at the time. And I looked on the shelf and I'm like, wow, this is one of the biggest natural grocery store chains in the US. And there are hardly any natural period products on the shelves. Like, that's weird, but I'll try them anyway. And so I started looking at these products and then started reaching out to different manufacturers. So I personally could see if I eliminated these toxins, what would happen to my body. So it was kind of a selfish journey. I was like, but also cognizant that a lot of people are going through the same issues. So crazy, but true story. I found these amazing, totally certified organic cotton tampons with no extra perfumes, no toxins, no chemicals. I tried them and like the next month, zero period pain. Whoa. And I'm like, no way. I'm like, this cannot be, this has got to be a coincidence. There is no way this can be true. So I persisted and used them for a few months. And at the same time, Gabby and I, who had businesses together in China, were in the US for another project. And when that didn't come to fruition, all the stars kind of aligned. And we're like, what about this natural and organic period space? And it's something that I feel very passionate about in terms of health and, you know, people's bodies. And my family had health food stores when I was growing up in
Mm.
Australia, and I grew up in a very healthy household. My parents, who are still very healthy in their late 70s and mid 80s, it's kind of been our mantra. But we never thought about period products, which we can get to, right? And so anyway, I was trying these products, and a few months later, I had period pain again. I'm like, oh, see, it was just a coincidence. Then I remembered, no, the month before I was traveling and I used store-bought tampons.
Oh,
Like, wow. I'm like, right, we're pursuing this line of thinking now. And, you know, at the same time, we looked at how many people actually go through endometriosis, which is, you know, what was causing a lot of the pain that I was going through.
mm-hmm.
And of course, you know, tens of millions of people go through that.
Massive.
Massive. And at the
Massive.
same time, you know, talking to people who didn't go through it, who didn't have endometriosis, they weren't so keen on putting toxins in or on their body either.
No.
So this huge market kind of emerged from a business perspective. And at the same time, I'm from Australia, my business partner's from Brazil, and we're super passionate about plastics and the environment. And we're walking along Venice Beach and we saw these plastic tampon applicators. We're like, what is happening to the planet? So it was all this serendipity that came into one focus. We thought, could we actually turn this into a business? So that's a slightly long story of how Tampon Tribe formed. But, you know, we started with a, you know, little Indiegogo campaign to actually see if anyone else was interested in,
Yeah.
you know, the product. And of course they were. And from there, the company has grown.
And you guys have all the period products, right?
Yes. Yeah. So originally, of course, Tampon Tribe, we thought, we'll just do tampons. That'll be awesome. We love doing one thing well and one thing, you
Yeah.
know, straightforward. And then, of course, you know, even with the Indiegogo campaign, where are the pads? Where are the liners? We're like, okay, we'll add those in. And now, yes, we have menstrual cups, and our cups are quite different as well. So we don't use silicone in our cups, which is quite different. So we use a medical grade TPE, which is the same product they use for like heart stents and what have you. It's an internal, it's designed for being inside your body.
Right.
Silicone, perhaps not so much.
Yeah.
And also TPE is recyclable. Silicone is not. We also have period underwear, and we've just launched reusable pads as well.
Oh
So
my gosh, that's amazing.
yeah, yeah. So
It's a real triple threat because, you know, obviously like the plastic and the disposability of things is really obviously really valuable for the environment, the sustainability, but plastic itself is toxic in the body. So, and silicone as well, like you're saying. So we've got like so many areas of how it impacts us and how it impacts the world. And I mean, I don't know, I'm just, you know, you might not know this number, or maybe you do, but like on average, how many period products does a woman use in her lifetime? Would you have any idea? That's a really, so I'm just throwing this out at you, but I'm like,
I
I'm
can
thinking
do
about,
the mental math, but while I might not have that figure at hand, I can tell you a little bit about the waste that goes with that, and we can do the
yeah,
backward math.
yeah.
So in the US alone, you have 7 billion plastic applicators and 10 billion plastic back pads end up in landfills every year.
Oh my God. In the US
So
alone.
the US alone.
My
And so
gosh.
people are becoming a little cognizant about the plastics in their tampons because it's very visual. You can
Yeah.
see it in the trash, right? But also the plastic on the back of your pad,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
it
Yeah.
doesn't biodegrade. It sits in landfills. So
Yeah.
yeah, like if you want to do the math, like women have their period for, you know, from what, 12, 10 or 12 now to 50 sometimes. So
Yeah.
40 years
Yeah. 12
using,
times a year.
yeah, using 16, you know, tampons a month times 12 times 40.
Yeah.
And that's your math. Um, and it's something, for some reason, we haven't been taught to think about.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we have this blind faith that if a product is on our shelf, must be okay, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a super taboo topic. Like I just think that it is so hush hush, you know, that's why perimenopause hasn't even been discussed in our realm. It's like we just don't talk about our periods that much, you know, other than,
Right.
oh, I'm cramping or I feel gross or, you know, or I'm craving. Like nobody really talks about it as much. And I think because women are really good at being like, oh my gosh, I love this. It's so good. You should try it. But if we're not talking about our periods, then that doesn't get to come out and we don't get to share it the same. So,
Yeah, you're totally right. Like you mentioned in the intro, like, do you know what products your friends use? The only reason I do is because I have a period product company.
right. Right.
So people ask me, and it was actually, to begin with, I hadn't even thought about that I would be talking about periods a lot. I just thought this is an awesome business.
Yeah.
We got to, it hits all the impact pillars for me as a human being. And
Yeah.
at this stage of my life, which is my late 40s, when we started in my early 40s,
Yeah.
it's a privilege to be able to put together a company that really is impactful on
Yeah.
all the levels that you're passionate about.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was such a privilege to even have that opportunity to start, which
Yeah.
did involve, delivering pizzas at night and, sleeping on my rooftop garden and in
Yeah.
my 40s, all this crazy stuff to make it happen. Like, it
Yeah.
wasn't an easy ride. But the impact side of it made that possible. But I hadn't thought, oh, I'm going to talk periods a lot now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Am
Yeah.
I ready for this? And, my first little pop up, I had dads and moms and kids. I'm like, whoa, wait a second.
Yeah.
This is a lot. But it's also really interesting.
Yeah.
It was as if people were really seeking out that conversation, and
Mhm.
men included. I had a lot of dads come up and say, I never even knew that organic was a thing. Where can I sign my daughters up?
Ah.
And that to me gives me goosebumps now. And I still have men reach out to me. We're going through infertility as a couple, and I'm
Mm.
thinking there's got to be something more to this. And, I'm very grateful that the guys step up as well.
Yeah.
And they're very open to actually having the conversation.
Yeah.
I think it's just starting them, Bria, that we have to,
Yeah.
continue.
I totally agree with you. I think just like creating that space, and then the more comfortable you get, like I'll often have women be like, we talk about poop and we talk about sex and we talk about periods and they're like TMI. I'm like, no way, bring it on. And the more comfortable you get talking about these things, you're like, oh, it's just a natural bodily function that all humans and animals experience all day long. So it's good to have the
And
conversation.
it is funny how it's a lot of women
Hmm.
who are a little more reticent to
Hmm.
talk about it. Like I say, I was, for example, at a trade show not so long ago. We do a lot in the business to business space. We sell into a lot of large hotels and corporations. And I have my little table there, and of course, most of the sales reps are men and they're selling into janitorial, also men. Oh my gosh, so eager to learn, so
Ah,
happy to have a conversation,
that's
and so proud that they could actually be putting better quality products out. It was
amazing.
it's so refreshing. And then some
Yeah.
of the women that would come up with men in their group, they're like, oh, ho, ho, we won't talk about it. And the guys are like, I want to talk about it.
Yeah,
Like,
that's fascinating. That's fascinating.
yeah, it's cool, I think. And then those women go, oh, okay, let's all talk about it then. And I
Yeah,
think that's fantastic,
yeah.
because most men have a sister, an aunt, a daughter, a
A
next door
wife.
neighbor, someone,
Yeah, yeah,
a wife in their family that they deal with this every day. They're the ones that go to the store to buy them. So
yeah.
they love the options that are out there.
Oh, that's really, really incredible. I love hearing that. I mean, it probably speaks to the shame that women put on themselves around it. If men are like, no, I'm fine with it. And we're the ones who are, uncomfortable. So that's so interesting.
Right.
But yeah, I guess that's why the conversation hasn't been started. So I'm so excited to, that we're having this conversation. Let's talk a little bit about, some of the toxins that are in period products so we can share. So I think it sounds, pretty clearly like we know it impacts, our hormones in creating PMS. We know it impacts the planet. We'll speak about how it impacts us in perimenopause, but let's talk about what some of those toxins are that, we're unable to, that's impacting us.
Totally. So tampons and pads are a pretty unregulated industry, which is
Mhm.
shocking, particularly because a tampon is a class 2 medical device.
Mhm.
However, there are no regulations on what goes in a tampon. So your tampon can be made with any material. That is from nylon to viscose to cotton to rayon, and the whole gamut of man-made materials in between. So those materials, especially the man-made ones, are often made from plastics, which you mentioned earlier,
Yeah.
and they retain the toxins. in the actual fibers and the fabrics. That's why people wear organic cotton clothing,
Yeah.
because the fabric retains, the fibers retain whatever is being put in them. They're also full of bleaches. They're full of perfumes. And the largest one is they've got titanium dioxide in them.
Oh.
Here's the big thing for the US. Titanium dioxide is a carcinogen. It is banned in most of the world. It's banned in Australia, it's banned in Europe, might be banned in Canada. It is not banned in the US. So titanium dioxide is found in some of the leading organic brands of period products, which is horrifying.
Yeah,
And
how does that make that so confusing for people?
yeah, it's called greenwashing. I'm
Green.
sure you're aware of that label.
Mhm.
And so you'll go and look on the shelf and you'll be, wow, there's a box that says organic.
Yeah.
Awesome. It is better than totally nothing organic being in your
Yeah.
product.
Yeah.
But look closely at that. There's no regulation in the US to put the ingredients on the box.
Yeah.
But most companies do. So when you look around the back of the box or go to the website, it will tell you what's in the product. It might say organic cotton cover, for
Mhm.
example, which means the cover of a tampon or a pad might be organic cotton. The rest of it is not. Can be,
Mm.
or it might say organically grown, which doesn't actually say anything because organically grown means grown, right?
Right.
Right? What does that even mean?
Oh, man, no wonder we're so
But you,
confused.
right, it's confusing. No one's to blame for, you can't be, no one buying these products can be blamed. And then you've got the green colors and everything that's being used. So those toxins that remain with the product, of course, as you know very well and can speak to,
Yeah.
can do total havoc in the body or even on the body.
Mhm.
Where you're putting your pad or your tampon is one of the most sensitive, if not the most sensitive parts of a body, right?
So porous and
And
so
so
yeah,
it's
absolutely.
absorbing everything.
Mhm.
And same with even if it's cotton. So cotton is one of the most heavily GMO'd crops in the world. So you've got GMOs in that cotton
Mhm.
that do stay with the product and come in your body.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. Oh, then you'll have companies that say, oh, we only use the glue or the titanium dioxide in the string.
Mm.
Okay. It's still
That's
in your
still
body.
right in there. Yeah, it's right up in that area.
Exactly. So I think it's just being hyper aware of your period products as we are with everything else.
Yeah.
If you go through or drive through junky food, you know what you're getting. It's not going to
Yeah.
be great for you, but you're
Yeah.
totally aware of it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
This is my choice today.
Yeah.
If you are buying beautiful organic veggies at the farmer's market, that is your choice. You
Yeah.
are consciously doing that. And with period products, we're on our way now. Thanks to social media,
Yeah.
TikTok, particularly, people are asking the questions.
Oh, I love that.
What's in my tampon? What's in
Mhm.
so yeah, I mean, you mentioned before, the endocrine system and how these chemicals and toxins, stay and disrupt your body. And they do on a monthly basis if
Yeah.
you are using products with any of these toxins in. And funnily enough, the old products, going back to the old, say, Tampax days, they were probably fine because
Yeah.
when they were being used, we didn't have these man-made materials.
Yeah.
They probably were just wads of cotton,
Yeah.
grown with regenerative farming practices,
Yeah.
So people go, but when I used to buy them, I'm like, well, when you did at that time, there probably wasn't as a big an issue as there is
Yeah.
now. So yeah.
That's so important what you said there because we can really get caught in this like, well, I've always used it and it's been fine, but not only have processes and farming and consumerism and mass production of things changed, and therefore we've created these chemicals so that we can accommodate that demand. So now things are changing. We are actually seeing that impact in women's bodies, like more than ever. Women are suffering in perimenopause and menopause. It's taboo, and that's also why it hasn't come to table. But it's more prominent. The issues are greater because of this impact. And a lot of things like dioxins are accumulative, right? Do I have that right? Where they accumulate in our body fat, and then it's really hard to actually ever get rid of it. And it gets passed on generation to our children through like the birthing. So it's a big deal, and it's impacting us kind of on all those levels, like we're saying, just, in our hormones, in how we feel, in cancer, and then also in our overall ability to regulate our hormones later in life. And it's for you to have that experience of just 1 month of using like completely organic products, feeling better, it makes me want to run out and buy them for everyone, because I'm like,
Right.
let's just not waste our time.
And that's one of our big missions too, because it's so right. I wouldn't have believed it if someone told me. It wasn't my body. And then I thought, how do I tell this story so it doesn't sound like I'm just trying to sell a product?
Yeah.
But I'm like, that we actually let people now have like a 30-day trial, try the products, give it a go and see how you feel.
Yeah.
Because you can see change that quickly. Not for everyone. There's no magic bullet cure, but if you can take toxins out of your body in such a simple way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sacrifice, and I mean, even looking at some of the branding and marketing for these large products that talk about super absorbent. This is a super absorbent. Okay, super absorbent is actually a chemical. It's the name. It's what we in the period industry. It's called super absorbent. How much super absorbent do you want in the tampon or the pad? It has been found to encourage more bleeding and it traps it for longer. So I'll have some people like, oh my gosh, I switched to the product and one tampon didn't last all day. I'm like, no one tampon should last all day. This is awful. It's because it has all the chemicals in it that's kind of trapping the product. And also it's leaching into your body, right?
Oh my gosh, I did not know this.
Yeah, so if you have a pad at home, you can actually try this. You can actually pour some liquid onto your pad, and if you see little blue beading or anything in the main surface of the pad, that's the super absorbent chemical absorbing the fluid that you're putting onto it. So these things we just don't think of. When you're using organic cotton, once the cotton is full of fluid, you will have to change it like a organic cotton ball. That's how products actually used to work and still should work, but we reach for that convenience, and actually and now we also have menstrual cups, so if you need all day, a menstrual cup can last 8 to 12 hours depending on your flow. So there are other options there, and period underwear as well, which a lot of people can wear for most of the day depending on your flow.
Let's talk about the menstrual cups. Yeah, because we talked about, silicone moving to what is your menstrual cup made of?
Sure. Our menstrual cup is made from a material abbreviated to TPE, which means thermoplastic elastopolymer, but it's actually not plastic. It's made from a rubber. So it's a natural substance. And it's a little more malleable. So if you're familiar with the cups, that is still a great step in the right direction. Fantastic step for your body and for the planet. Silicon's a little more rigid, just in its makeup, most of the cups. TPE is a little more malleable, so we designed it to move with the body a bit better. So our main goal is to, really serve active people. I want to be able to go to yoga and go swimming and run up a mountain and everything you need to do, although I don't do that much in my life right now, but you get my drift, right?
Yeah.
And not have to worry, or go camping and not have to worry about, oh my God, am I going to leak? So TPE moves with your body a bit more. So it doesn't always open like bam inside your body, like they say that, the menstrual cups open into this circle, because sometimes it's not a perfect circle inside your body. You've got a lot of different organs and everything pushing against yourself, So it could be like a weird kind of starry shape inside you.
Yeah.
As long as it's kind of, collecting all the fluid. And we also have some little leak-free, it's a patented technology to stop the leaks, and it moves a bit in your body, which is important because you don't want a total vacuum, because then if that releases, it can be a little messy.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is super comfy, moves with the body, and it's a great product, I feel, to use. And of course, when you wanted to change it, which can be every
Mhm.
few years, can be longer, depends on how you care for the cup.
Yeah.
It's recyclable, so you can put it in, with the
Ah,
recycling or breakdown.
I mean, you said earlier, like it's, obviously there's not a magic pill. Like it's not like all of a sudden our symptoms are going to go away in 1 month, but any little bit helps. And I also think I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, but there's a real like mental load around when you're making the right decision for yourself, right? And an offload or an overload when you could be making a decision, that's a bit better. So when you choose these things and it's impacting the planet in a positive way, and it's impacting your body in a positive way, and it's actually making that difference inside of you. Like, to me, that's such a big win of reducing the mental load that we carry so much as women day to day.
Yeah, totally. It's a great point. And I think we do it, and we're used to doing it in so many aspects of our life. And for some
Mhm.
reason, like you said, maybe because it's just been a bit taboo,
Yeah.
and it's changing now.
Mhm.
Um, but it's a great time to talk about it now and
Yeah.
to dissect it and to really think about it for a
Yeah.
minute, rather than that auto throw it into the shopping cart or, add it to your Amazon bag. Just have a little think
Yeah.
about, hey, is this the best thing
Yeah.
I'm doing? And for us too, when we were creating the products, and we continue to add new products to the line, we always think of that. What impact are we having on people and on the
Mhm.
planet? And we do a lot in give back as well, so we have that one for one give back where we want to make sure that people on our streets, unhoused youth,
Mm.
uh, kids in the US who don't go to school when they get their period, of which there are hundreds of thousands every month, also a horrifying fact, don't get the free product that can often be exacerbating the
Yeah. Symptoms.
disparity of health and wealth in society.
Yeah.
So we're trying to always think of ways that how can we ensure everyone has access to these products. And that was one of our very first pillars. When I
Mhm.
walked into this massive shop that I am privileged to have access to,
Yeah.
what about all the people who can't do that?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's why we started our business online all those years ago. Was to enable everyone access to these products. And it's changing. Now schools are having to give period products in some
Yeah.
states in the US.
Mhm.
The tampon tax is being erased in some states, and we work pretty hard for that too. So we're getting there.
Oh, that's amazing. What a really I don't know. For me, it's like now you have like this, quadruple thread of how it's impacting and the decision, so anyway, thank you for the impact that you're making. I think that's incredible. I have to bring us back just quick because I want to talk more about like, so for me, and we even talked about, this is new stuff for me too. I love learning about it. So as much as I know all this stuff about hormones, like we can't, be perfect overnight. So I was even saying to Jen before we hopped on this call, like, it's so great when you can start to like day by day pick something different that is starting to work for you and not feel like you're overwhelmed with all the changes, because sometimes change feels really hard. Sometimes it feels like you have to do all these hard things, but swapping your period products is really like effortless. It's an effortless way to make a difference in your body, make a difference in the world, like make a difference in someone else's world, it sounds like. So I love what you're doing. But I said to you when we first met, I was like, well, I'd always, and I definitely had switched to a silicone cup before we met, and I used OB tampons. And you're like, well, they're still wrapped in plastic. And I'm like, oh, I hadn't even thought. And I didn't even realize, I mean, I'd heard about silicone, especially knowing a lot of people who are getting explants and things from breast implants. But can you speak to about silicone specifically and what it does to the body, or why it's not good?
Well, I think with silicone, it's a bit of an unknown. So
Mhm.
anything you put in your body, even if it's coated, I mean, there are studies out
Yeah.
there that speak to the possibility of any product leaching, So what hasn't been tested a lot is what happens when you put silicone in a very warm environment
Mm.
inside your body with lots going on there, as you can
Yeah.
attest too.
Yeah.
Hormonally, the different chemicals that your own body produces.
Yeah.
We don't really know what
Mm,
happens, but people are removing silicone breast
yeah.
implants, for example, right?
Yeah.
Because there's been a lot of work done in there. People are
Mhm.
moving away to cooking with silicone, because what happens when you put it in the oven and you're making muffins or cupcakes or whatever? Is that leaching? Do we know?
Yeah. We
You know,
don't.
so I think it
Mhm.
comes to that. Um, so that's what pushed us to do
Yeah.
something.
Something different.
Something that's actually designed. So TPE, if you research it, they use it for heart stents. So
Mhm.
it's been developed for internal medicine.
Yeah.
Is it perfect? We also still don't know. However, is it perhaps a safer choice?
Yeah.
And that's what
Mhm.
we're always looking at. Like you mentioned, Bria, what little choices can we make? And you don't have to go in and throw out every product in your
No,
cart
no.
again, but what can we start being aware of? Can we look at the back of that box?
Mhm.
Should we be putting silicone in our body? It gives us a bit of pause for think without stress.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a stressful moment, and it's not a moment where we should ever feel bad about what we're doing.
No.
More to your point, what can we do a little better for our own bodies?
Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
you
Especially
know,
when it doesn't take much effort.
right. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, we try and get away from, like I say, any of that in any of the products. So nothing that could be questionable.
Yeah.
Same with the period underwear, which is
Mhm.
another thing to talk about with, PFAs
Oh,
and
yeah.
microplastics. And there were a couple of leading brands who said, no, we don't have any of these in. And they did the testing, and they do. So
Oh,
there are a couple of lawsuits out there right now. So once again, you think you're doing something
yeah.
awesome. Just
Yeah.
need to just dig a little bit deeper, like you would on anything.
Yeah. I love that. And so I'm really excited to share. I'm sure you're very excited about, but I'm really excited to share the fact that Tampon Tribe is the only 100% certified organic cotton and plastic free company in the US, which I think is massive. I mean, can we all just have a little round of applause for that? That's huge. And no wonder it's growing so much. I love that people are starting to care about these things and paying attention. But what are some other greenwashing labels that maybe we should be looking out for and paying attention to?
Sure. And actually, it just came to mind as you were speaking when we're
Yeah.
talking about something that's certified. So,
Yes.
I do this. You go up onto the store and you look, oh, look at all those little labels. Awesome. Let's go.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Really knowing what they are. I only found out when I was doing some research for our packaging, that little, the little three arrows in a triangle that you
Yeah.
see on all of your products, I thought that meant something good, like this looks like it could be recycled or something like that. In fact, it's a plastic marker and tells you how much plastic's in the product. There's like the little three arrows with a 2, a 3, or a 4. And I'm like, doesn't this mean recycling? Like,
I thought
what?
that's what that meant.
Right. Because it's also used on like some recycling bins, I think, but actually it's a plastic mark and it
Oh
shows
my
you what
God.
it's in the product. Crazy. So look at that symbol closely
Oh, yeah.
and see, maybe it is a recycling one, but maybe it's just the mark of like how much density, how dense the plastic is in that product. So what you want to be looking for, and this is in the textile industry as well as our industry, because we use a cotton.
Mm-hmm.
So our cotton is all grown by small growth farmers in Europe. The reason we do that is because we have two classifications called GOTS and ICEA. So GOTS you'll see on a lot of clothing. Like you have a look in your wardrobe now or when you go to the store,
Yeah.
and that means Global Organic Textiles. And it's the
Oh,
International Organic Cotton symbol for organic textiles.
okay.
You then have ICEA, which is the International Certification for Sustainability.
Oh, wow.
So they are very, very difficult to get. And we're very proud that our products have
Yeah.
that for all the organic cotton that we use.
Wow.
So it means that everything from the chemicals in the soil, how much water is used every step of the way, the emissions that are being used in production, in growth, in the factory and shipping
Mm-hmm.
here have all been monitored. So very nerding. We can nerd out on this for hours, but it's important to perhaps just recognize that. So you might just see the
Yeah.
word organic.
Mm-hmm.
might not mean much.
Mm-hmm.
Unless
Because it
you've
only
got,
has to be a percentage or a certain amount of ingredients in order to be organic, correct? In the
well,
US?
yeah, if you're making a tampon box, you can put whatever you like on it. It's not regulated.
Oh, I forgot. Oh my gosh. I mean, that's just so unfair to poor people. Like, how on earth are we ever supposed to know? So, so if we're looking for something like GOTS or ICA, like where would, so obviously it's going to be on the box. Is it a symbol or will it just be letters?
It should be a symbol, or it could be a symbol. It
Could be.
depends on who's making the packaging.
Of
You know,
course. Okay.
sometimes you get these great products that have this amazing materials, but for some reason, the people who are making the packages not worried
Put
about
it
it. So,
on.
you know,
Yeah. Okay.
so you can do a little research on people's websites these days,
Mm,
but people can also say a lot without, being totally honest. And the same happens to sustainable. I
yeah.
see a lot of products across all industries saying, "Oh, we've got a transparent supply chain and we're totally sustainable." And then you look at the product, you're like, "But you have a plastic applicator and you're wrapped in plastic." Yeah, but we're sustainable. I'm like, no.
You're
You're actually,
missing the mark here.
yeah, you're actually not. And I've spoken to some of these guys and gals who develop products. They're like, "Jen, we've got this great new product. It's sustainable." I'm like, "It's wrapped in plastic." They're like, "Yeah." I'm like, "It's not
What's sustainable
sustainable."
about that? Yeah.
Oh, they're like, "Yeah, but there's no glue in the product anymore." I'm like, "That is awesome, but that does
Mm,
not
makes
classify,
sense.
the product." So yeah, keep your eye out for ICEA for GOTS when you're looking at organic cotton. And this is, like I say, textiles, period products, anything else that might have cotton in it.
Mm,
And then any sustainability certification, B Corp is pretty good.
mhm.
Um, it for some things, for some things, being a B Corp is awesome. It just means that that company has gone through a few more checks and balances. Doesn't necessarily mean they're organic or plastic free, but that's also a good symbol to look for just in general.
In general. Okay, that's good. That gives us something I think to look for even outside of those period products. So that's amazing.
Yeah,
I know we've covered a lot here. Why don't you share with us a little bit about the experience? So if someone wants to come and purchase, Tampon Tribe products or period products, what is that experience like for them, especially if they've been used to just going into the store, grabbing it at Target or at, Shoppers if they're in Canada or wherever? Like what's that look like?
sure. We actually are an omni-channel company, so we actually have a few ways that you can get the product, and it's growing pretty rapidly, which is great. So first and foremost, we have a website, and so we started this talking about business for 1 second when Dollar Shave Club was doing awesome, and they had this really great subscription model. We got, this will be great, set it and forget it. So
Yeah.
we have a subscription model online if that's what you'd like to do.
Yeah.
You can also buy the products just as a one-off online as well. That's where you're going to get the best pricing, free shipping, and all those kind of things too.
Yeah.
We also sell on Amazon.
Oh,
So if you're an Amazon shopper, you can grab us on Amazon, and we're adding more and more products to that platform. And we just had to recognize that that's where a lot of people buy products.
yeah.
So we want to make sure that we make getting the products as simple as possible.
Yeah.
We're also in quite a few, actually, nearly 400 small retailers. So if you have a smaller sustainability shop or a plastic-free shop where you are, they often carry us in bulk, because they're
Wow.
trying to reduce waste. So you can find us there. And we're in a lot of larger grocery chains as well. So if you're in the New Seasons, New Leaf Markets, or an HEB, in the Central Market, we're in a lot of large groceries across the US. Um, yeah, and you might find us at your workplace as well. So, and hotels. We sell into a lot of hotels, into schools, into large companies, film studios. This real shift to recognizing the importance
Mhm.
of organic and plastic free products
Yeah.
is such an exciting phase of growth right now. And I mentioned to you earlier, Bria, we're in a few CVS stores for a trial right now, which is super exciting,
Yeah.
on the East Coast. And that really shows the shift of consumerism.
Yeah.
'Cause we know these
Exactly.
buyers and we've been speaking to them for a long time. They're like,
Yeah.
"We're not quite there yet, Jen," and then it got to a little more green. And now we're at a point that the mainstream industry is realizing, hey, people need access to these products.
Mhm.
So some of the larger retailers are also starting to eliminate single-use plastics
Wow.
across all of their products. Then a few large ones have done it in beauty already. So it'll be interesting when it comes to the period product space, how they tackle that.
Oh, I love that. And I mean, Jen, it's no wonder you guys have had such massive growth. And it is really inspiring, not just what you guys have done, but the fact that consumers are responding to it. Like that is a really inspiring piece overall for our health, for the health of our planet. But what is your vision then for Tampon Tribe?
Well, to continue to grow, obviously, we'd love Tampon Tribe to be a household name, and so people really trust that we're putting in the work and the research for them, that our products, which they are all plastic free and totally organic. And that's something that we've obviously been tempted to go cheaper routes before. And we said, no, we're not going to do that. This is
Yeah.
something we believe wholeheartedly in and we see a need. So to add more products, like I said, we just added our reusable pads and they're huge in Australia. They're in the
Oh,
supermarket shelves in Australia, reusable pads.
oh my
So you
gosh.
can just go to the grocery store and just buy them. Now in the US, we're going to introduce them. So
Yeah.
that's really exciting. And I mean, you've got some kind of boringish ones. Ours are like black and streamlined. We try and be very like modern and cool as
Yeah.
well. We try. I
Clever.
don't know how cool we are, but you
Yeah.
know,
Can I have hot pink and disco ball shiny pads, please?
we give it our best shot. Um,
I love it.
so yeah, and of course to grow it and to be able to add more products. You know, we've got such really great ideas, and we're working hard in the R&D part on
Mhm.
how we get, for example, organic wipes, intimate wipes, not wrapped in plastic, very difficult to do because they have moisture in them. So we're
Yeah.
working on these different ways of
How
taking
innovative.
like products that people love. How do we do it in an impactful way?
Yeah.
I think is our
Yeah.
challenge, and an exciting, fun one at that.
I love that. That kind of all sort of honor your pillars, like you were talking about the sustainability, the giving back, the female health overall. I love that. It's super powerful. Thank you so much. Okay, if we want to learn more from you, if we want to order these period products, what is the best way to do that?
Sure. So jump onto our website, which is tampontribe.com,
Love it.
and you can have a browse. If you have any questions, we have a little chat on the site that is monitored during Pacific hours, West Coast US. Feel free to shoot us a message. If you need to reach me, you can reach me that way as well. Just say, "Hey, Jen," and I'll get your email. And we have a great team of people being kind of always at the ready to answer your questions and concerns. You know, or yeah, if you have ideas for products that you'd like us to work on, feel free to reach
Oh,
out
I
as
love that. Feedback, please. Share the feedback. You can send it to me too, and I'll pass it on, but reach out to Jen. Go check it out. And I think that's amazing. And Jen has continued to give back. She has offered everyone, all of our listeners, anyone who's listening today, a 20% off discount with Period Whisperer 20. That's Period Whisperer 20. I'll put all of this in the show notes for you so that you can go and try it out. Try out your month. See if it makes a difference in those symptoms that you're having. You know, I think we covered so much today, Jen. I really appreciate not only what you're doing in the world, but your time today. I hope every woman listening understands the impact of how absorbent this area is, of, you know, not only how it's impacting our daughters, and because everyone listening here is going to be in the perimenopause year. So our daughters, our granddaughters, you know, all the women in our lives. So not just in our symptoms, in our fertility, but absolutely in our perimenopause symptoms. It's like, it's very significant when we have these toxins in our body. They either mimic hormones, or they disrupt hormones, or they, you know, create a hormone surplus, which throws those imbalances off, which is everything we struggle with: weight gain that's unexplained, sleep problems, cramping, mood swings, anxiety, all of these things that I hear from women every day. So it packs a big punch. And so I'm really grateful for what you do. And thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Bria. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. All right, sisters, go out, try out some new tampons, be more in your life, not just less on a scale. And hey, find out from someone other than your sister what they use for their period products, and maybe share this episode with them so that they know better. Thanks, everyone. Have an amazing day. We'll catch you next time.